you speak about this aspect of self-care that Daddy talks about? I think it's worth talking about, because I think women resist being selfish, I think, and they do put others first, they do put their families first, but we do really need to be selfish, however we call it, because that word has been, it can be seen as negative, but we do need to put ourselves first, don't we? Because we can't invest in our families and supporting others unless we've taken care of ourselves first. You were talking about that
Yes.
Daddy has that as a principle.
You know, Daddy's own description of this, she's often said that she spends 90% of her time inside and only 10% outside. And it's phenomenal, because you look at her and you think, well, how do you do it? You know, you're meeting people from morning, noon, evening. You're on a plane every other day. You're running, you know, an organisation this big, and you appear like you're very active. So how is it that you're able to maintain a level of efficiency in everything you're doing? You're accomplishing things, and yet maintain a focus internally. How does that work? And I think a lot of Daddy's personal care for herself lies in two territories. One is that she's very conscious that she doesn't waste time. And that's very deeply linked to the fact that she doesn't waste her most precious resource, and that's her thoughts. Daddy doesn't let herself get engaged into any kind of unnecessary thinking, wasteful thinking, negative thinking, or I would even call ordinary thinking, which is logistical thinking. You know, where so much when you become role conscious and aware of your role and your administrative responsibilities, you think, well, I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to do the other. And when you're not generating a high quality of thinking, then you're not actually keeping your energies uplifted, which is why when souls or individuals come to you to take power, you don't actually have a power to give. But Daddy maintains such a high quality of purposeful thinking that when you come into her presence, you feel the energy of that, and that's what you take.
She can fill a room.
And she can fill a room just with the energy,
because
she keeps the quality of her thinking very high. Now it's, you know, and I think a lot of that is related to how she sees herself. Like, she is per se the administrative head of the Brahma Kumaris, but she never relates to that role. That's not her identity.
No.
She says, my part is to be a world mother. And so she plays the role connected to her more unlimited part of being a world mother. And so it's not about, oh, well, I've got to make sure I keep time to this, or I've got to make sure these people have done this project. No, she sustains the spirit of the organisation as a mother, and she stays very, very true to that level of being.
And that does require inner work, doesn't it?
It requires a huge inner focus of staying connected to, well, why am I here? What am I here to sustain? I'm not here to sustain a project. I'm not here to sustain a task. I'm not here to sustain. I'm here to sustain a spirit. The purity of spirit, firstly my own, and secondly in my relationship with others. Wow. And she has never lost her integrity in this regard. And that's what I find very inspiring, because, and she sets a high benchmark. So